here.
Oh.
Man, that's a nice bracket you got there. Fuel tank bracket?
Something like
Got
that.
any fuel tank on this thing? Oh man, you got switches and got some nice new fuel line there, and oh man, a new fuel tank right there. Oh man, that must be for going fast. Hell yeah! All right, so you see we got old Dan Bram here, and we're looking at how the brackets get mounted here and all that. So we're gonna try to just line some stuff up here and start routing our line and all that, and then we still gotta get the motor dialed in. We got a bad gasket, we think, on the header, so we gotta get that replaced and all that. And then we're gonna check our our rocker arms and our as far as our valves and all that, make sure that they're all dialed in. And yeah, we'll probably start taking the carb off and all that. Our buddy's gonna swing by, get our tank filled up for us. So he's gonna hook us up with that, and then he'll actually be by tomorrow to lend a helping hand. And then we got old Nick over there doing some YFZ work, getting down with this thing. He's getting mad at it. We'll start throwing tools at it or something if it don't start running here soon, because yeah, it's being stubborn. That's all right. We'll get her done. But all right, guys, we're gonna pull out all the parts here, and
Maybe
we will, and see what we got going on. All right. All right. So what we're looking at here right now, guys, is where we're gonna put our switch. We're not going to do it a wide open throttle switch right away, just because we want to be able to spray when we want to. So we want to make sure that when we're spraying, that we're above 3,000 RPMs. I don't want to hit the throttle all the way down, it bog, and then we're to spray nitrous or something like that, and that would be no bueno for the motor. So not saying it would harm it, but it's definitely something you don't want to catch it in a bog like that, and you're just putting more strain on your motor. So what we're looking at here, we're going to put just our little button switch here, and what we'll do is we'll take this off right here so we can route our wires down to our column. So I'm thinking when we take these off here, we should be able to spin the wheel. There should be different selections, because I really want it here. So I always have my left hand on, and I'll shift with my right. And I'm usually when you're going down, I'm going down the drag strip. It's on sand, so it's rough. You want to be, have a good placement with your hand and all that. So I'm thinking right here is where I'm going to be comfortable. So we're going to see if we can get the steering wheel spun a little bit, and we get it set up right there, and that'll be money. So take a look at this thing. We'll take these screws off and see what we got going on. So,
Videoing me wrapping up hose.
yes. So what do we have enough hose?
We should have more than enough hose.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do this Jeep and another Jeep we'll be able to hook up at the same time and run them parallel down the drag strip on the same bottle.
Yeah, as long as they stay the same speed.
Yes.
Well, you might have a couple extra foot going back.
Oh yeah, we'll have some leeway.
Have some tug of war.
Yeah.
But should be able to run it from the bottle and take up space running across and over to the driver's side.
Okay.
And then running up the bottom side towards the frame rail and into the engine bay.
Cool.
And probably have a little bit of a loop left. So.
Which we'll probably just wrap that around the carb, right?
Just put it on the butterfly.
Oh, there we go. I like it.
The way it pulls it tight when you hit it full throttle.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so, well, kind of got that mocked up a little bit, so that's kind of what we're doing here. We'll probably start drilling some holes here and getting these brackets in, and I'm going to probably start working on that steering wheel too, and just kind of glance in there and see what we got going on. And
mock the bottle.
Mock the bottle, yep. So they were saying for the 10-inch, what you'll do is you'll put your bottom bracket in, and then they want you to mount 7 inches above and and that's where the top bracket will mount it. So I could double check that stuff, maybe because they might say to do so much on the bottom.
Yeah, we'll have to find out how much they want to mount on the bottom.
So I do got that stuff pulled up so we can check that out.
Alright.
So, alright guys, we're going to get at it. Because of the angle. pondering?
How to actually clear this.
Oh, that hump?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So
We brought it up enough even just for you to get your hand in. 2 inches close to. We're still going to be, if we ride that lip, you're going to have overhang of your bottle here, but you're not losing a ton of space at least.
gotcha. Then we got room underneath there to drill, it looks like. So what they say, we're going 2 inches from the bottom, right?
2 inches from the bottom of the bottle for your bottom bracket, and then 7 inches from this bracket up.
Nice. And then yeah, I show you because there's like there's a siphon tube in here. So what it does is you get here's your neck, your bottles, and the tube runs down that way, and it sucks from the very bottom of that bottle there. So that's why either you stand the bottle completely vertical, or when you're laying the bottle down like this, you got to make sure you have it at the right angle, because if you were to have it the opposite way, it would be not good. So you just probably wouldn't get the full use of your bottle, and it would probably even, I don't know, might throw some other stuff off too. Alright. So I'm over there working on the steering wheel to get our wire ran down the column. Still trying to sneak a wire in there, so we're getting at that. Alright, so we're back. Day 2. Get our nitrous kit hooked up here. We got Alex here today helping us out. We're gonna keep him off camera the whole time. And what? What? Anyways, look over here. So what we gotta do is, I already took the hat off and all that. We're gonna take the carb off. I gotta drain the fuel out of the lines and all that. And we gotta kind of see, as far as when we put our nitrous plate on, as far as what our routing and what kind of fittings we're gonna need to connect our fuel line to it. And then the other part is we're going to get rid of this big old spacer here, since that's a 2-inch. And the plate's about like a 1-inch. We're just going to put a 1-inch spacer. And they say when you're ever do that and you got your nitrous plate, you always put your nitrous plate closest to your intake manifold, and you're going to put your spacer above it. And I actually kind of thought the opposite, but when I started looking stuff up and all that, they say no. Because I thought the nitrous plate on top would be the best, so then it gives it time to mix in and all that. But it's not the case. So it's vice versa. Spacer top, and then your nitrous plate on the bottom. So that's what we're doing right now. We gotta get this little, we gotta drain all this fuel out, which is gonna be a nice mess. And then we're gonna get at it and see. We gotta take our linkage off and all that crap. And we might have to. That's another thing. We keep the same spacing and all that. I won't have to redo that throttle linkage again. It'll already be good to go.
Yeah.
So. Alright, disconnect battery, undo that. Alright. The work on your stuff?
Yeah, it's nice. I'm liking that part.
You got these undone?
Yeah.
Cool. Actually, I'll go get the magnetic tray, because I really want to focus on not dropping anything.
Yeah. Oh, washer.
Playing that stupid game.
Well, we need to open up like the drop it down in the motor for like some exciting stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's what they want to see is us fishing the motor, the magnet for the next 3 hours. Realizing we have to take the pan off and everything. Actually, that might be easier.
No, we just fire it up and that's it.
There we go. Here's the tray. Man, when I was looking for aluminum, I think I swallowed a bug. Woo! Oh man. Anyways, when I was looking for radiators for this thing, because you gotta do with the Chevy, when you put them in, it's actually it's different than the AMC as far as the flow.
Ford.
Huh?
Usually Ford's on that side.
I would say
Chevy.
this.
Chevy's on this side. Ford's usually on that side, I thought.
This Chevy would be on this side since this is a Chevy. This is a Chevy Radiator.
Yeah,
Ford would
maybe
be
you're
the
right.
other side because
Yeah.
AMC did a lot of
Okay.
mixture of that stuff. But anyways, I was looking at the radiators called Be Cool, and it's like, wow, that sounds really cool. Like that's a neat name. But man, they're expensive.
Yeah.
They are crazy.
Yeah, anything like that or Flex Light.
Yeah. So just to let you guys know, Champion. We actually been running this thing for a while. A couple of our other buddies bought them too. Great price, you know, for the radiator, and it's held up really good. And it, you know, it looks good and all that. And actually, our electric fan setup we bought off of Jegs, and I think the fans, it's a derail setup, and it already came with the housing and everything, and we put a couple relays on it, and it does awesome cooling this thing. And actually, we had one relay go out where it was running the fan constantly, so I pulled it out, and it actually could cool the engine just with one fan, so that was kind of nice to
Yeah, this is a sharp setup. I wouldn't mind getting rid of my clutch fan and doing something like this.
Well, this is back when, like, Michael, and I get it, like, running a mechanical fan, it's never going to fail, guys. I get that. But we wanted to go with the electric fan setup and all that. And I just wanted to make sure, like, I didn't look like an idiot. You know, so I told the guy at Jegs, like, listen, my brother-in-law is against electric fans. I need something that's going to work no matter what. I could not be overheating. They're like, we got just the thing for you. And the dimensions were just right. I mean, this thing, we made it work. I don't know if we had it. I don't think we even had to custom make any brackets for that. It went in there nice.
When it's all plug and play like that.
Yeah. It wasn't like meant to go for the Jeep, but we just went off dimensions and all that, and it ended up being really good. So, all right, so we're ready to pull the carb off and all that, and right? Oh, you already detached that, right?
Yeah, I just looked for a zip tie.
For what?
I'm gonna zip tie this up so it's not leaking all over the place.
What's that?
Fuel line. Just gonna zip tie right here.
Oh, there you go. You get a zip tie?
I don't know where they're at. They got gas on me.
Just hold it by the bracket.
There you go.
That's all you gotta do.
This is your zip tech.
This is what they call the zip tie mod. Because what you want to do is you want to elevate your fuel line vertically. So actually, it's kind of like siphoning. Once it loops past and all that, it's going to like power jet the fuel into your carb.
Wow, it's gonna be great.
Oh, it's gonna be wicked fast. Especially you get it really close to your alternator here and all that.
Your electrical, you want to start a big fire.
Just because if there's any leak, you want it to burn instantly. You don't want it to flood somewhere and then cause a fire, because then you're gonna melt the whole thing down. You want it to burn instantly. So that's why you always mount it close to your alternator and all that. So, all right, we're gonna pull the carb off right here. Right, we're ready.
Yeah, for the most part. I don't know. She might be a little. Oh wait, hold on.
Whoop.
Vacuum line.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, that boy's on there.
Well, technically, you don't have to take the carb completely off, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
We just gotta pull it off, get the spacer out,
Okay.
or just even set it to the side. How we looking? Like that, right there. We good like that?
Yep.
Cool. All right. All right, guys. So we're back at it after a couple days here, and we actually got our nitrous line routed up here, and we kind of been working with our solenoids and how we wanted to route everything. Only thing that stinks is that we had ordered a fuel fitting for here for a 90-degree elbow to kind of bend it up and get in the right direction, and I ordered the wrong one. For some reason I thought it was a -8 fitting, and it's a -6. So I messed up on that. That was my bad. We're still be able to get it to work. We're mainly getting it set up for the 4th, and then it's coming back, and then we're gonna probably do a little bit more dialing in and all that. We got our nitrous bottle installed, and then we also got it filled. Got our setup and all here with our pressure gauge. We got our wire going down there. We still need to mount that in a little firmer and all that. We wanted some extra wire here, so when we go to take the bottle out, you know, we have a little playroom and all that. So we're gonna get that all buttoned up there. We gotta purge the line here in a minute to clear the debris out, and then we'll be able to hook it up to the solenoid. Button our steering wheel back up because we ended up going with a different design. Instead of trying to go through the column and worry about like the wire getting spun up in there and all that, we just bought one of these instead. So the more I talk to people about nitrous setups and all that, I feel better that we're just going with the push button. Just because when you rely on like WOT triggers and then maybe like RPM triggers and all that, when they fail, you're relying on that thing not to fail, and when they do, it pretty much costs you your motor. So at least this way, we're all on the button. It's all up to us to, you know, to hit it at the right point and all that. So it should be good. So we also picked up some Dragon race fuel from a local dealer. Where's the front of this thing at? Oh, there we go. So picked up some 110. It doesn't need it, but when you're running nitrous and all that, they say, you know, just splashing a little octane in there is not a bad thing. So we're probably gonna run, what was that, be like a 1.6, so we're about thirds of the 5 gallons into 5-gallon containers and all that. So just a small mixture. So we're gonna blend that with 93 and make 15 gallons pretty much. So we're gonna do that, and yeah, we're gonna get this line purged right now, and then we're gonna get it set up, and then we're gonna see what's next. All right, guys, so we got our line routed. So now pretty much what we do is we take our tape off and all that, and he's gonna purge it for us. Just a smudge. Don't do it yet until I tell you to. I don't want a surprise. But that gets the debris out, and then you immediately hook it up to your nitrous solenoid. So that way there's, like I said, there's no debris. So go ahead and just give it a little toot. All right. All right, so we cleaned it out, and we're gonna take our plate off right here, and we're gonna get this hooked up. All right, thanks, Mike.
You betcha.
Actually wasn't as violent as I was suspecting. So, and we're actually gonna back pedal here and get some of our sealant. You know, when you're using this on the threads, they don't want you to use any. Usually, you don't need to use anything on this stuff, I don't think, on any like A&N fitting. But a little thread sealant's not bad, as long as you're using the liquid. You don't want to use actually thread tape, because then what you take a chance of happening is debris or, you know, some of that stuff getting in and then clogging one of your jets, and no bueno. Because you don't want those jets clog on you. You're thinking like, well, what's the big deal if one of my jets clog? I mean, the worst thing's going to happen is I'm not going to get the nitrous. Well, if that was the case, even if it was just your nitrous one, is that when you hit that button, you're going to flood your vehicle with fuel. You got to run overly, excuse me, overly rich, and then you're going to take the chance of messing up your motor that way. So either one, you know, you want everything to be clean lined and all that, and you don't want those jets clogging on you, which the chances are probably slim. I don't know, we'll see. But it's just one of those things. You just want to take the extra time to make sure you do right, so it treats you well. So we got that softly hooked up. I'm going to get the wrenches and all that, get that all tightened up, hopefully get this all set up here, and we'll be back with you guys. Alright guys, so in our motor, since day one, we've always ran, as far as Royal Purple synthetic, and we run 2050. And kind of one of the reasons we run this oil too is that it's got zinc in it. So especially for break-in oils, you always want to oil when you're doing these old engines like this with the zinc. So and just overall, it's like a cushion almost. You know, that's what they say. So it's good to, you know, as far as having oil with zinc and all that. Now AM's oil also does an oil like this too. It just happens at the time we started with Royal Purple and all that. My only complaint is, sorry, walking away from you guys here for a second, is that with Royal Purple, the oil's already so dark, you can't tell if it's dirty or not. So I understand like more of like race applications, you're going to change your oil before you maybe get to that point. But as far as for us, we take it up to Michigan, and it doesn't get not even 1,000 miles on it, but it's dusty. So I kind of like to be able to notice if the engine or the oil's getting dirty and all that. So originally, now or going back, I would have ran AM's oil, but now that we're on Royal Purple, I don't want to switch oils and all that. So on this motor, we'll stick with Royal Purple, and then if we ever do change it up and maybe go LS or something like that, we'll probably switch over to AM's oil. There's also this oil that this guy was telling me that they run for their race car, the guy that's supplying our nitrous and race fuel for us. So maybe check that stuff out, in the future and all that, and see what they got. But as far as right now, we're using Royal Purple, and we're gonna get this filled up. I wanted to do this because I started changing the oil in bit of doing everything else, and I didn't want to forget. So we're doing this. We're taking a little break, filling it up with oil. Then we're gonna do our wiring. So the important thing when you're doing this stuff is that we got our line hooked up, right? So the first thing you're gonna think to do is turn the valve on, test for leaks, right? Well, no, you don't want to do that, because right now you want to get your wires hooked up so you can test and make sure your solenoids are active. Now, could you test them with the nitrous hooked up? Of course, but why do that? You know what I mean? As soon as you click in that line, you're going to have nitrous in your lines, and then you're going to spray it into your motor, and then, if you plan on starting anytime soon, then you're going to have to either take the spark plugs out, cycle the motor, or, or let it naturally breathe out. I assume it would do over a period of time. So we're not gonna quite hit the valve yet and test for leaks. We're gonna get this thing wired up and make sure that our solenoids are clicking and all that. I forgot which one it is, but they actually say one will be a louder click than the other solenoid. So I'll double check that and get back to you guys and all that. But yeah, we're gonna finish our oil here, and then we're gonna start doing some wiring. Alright guys, so we got it all buttoned up now. We got our new battery in from Napa, the Legend. Got our nice battery strap holding her down. We made sure we tested all our lines. Like I told you, test before you fill them up and all that. Make sure your solenoids work, and then you let your nitrous in and you check for leaks. We did having a little small leak back there. We put some more thread sealant on and let it dry and actually cure, and then it was no issues. So other than that, we had no fuel leaks. Those were all good right off the bat. And we got our timing set. We went down to 10-degree timing. We were at 12, which is a little spicy, but not too bad. So as far as that, we got the timing good on this thing. We got our switches in. So how it works is you got your switch right here. Flip that up, boom, you're on. And then we put our push button right here. And then we have our cord, so it's gonna stretch, going left or right, so it's not gonna bind up. So that'll be good. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little bracket here so I could slide that off the steering wheel if I want, and I could put it right here when I'm really not using it. Because I do a lot of recreational driving with this thing, so I'm not gonna need that button there all the time. So we're gonna do something like that. Probably not for this weekend, but in the future we're gonna get that all buttoned up. But then all that you want to do when you would kill it, you just hit that down and it's off. So bottle's all strapped up, good to go. So we just gotta do a little bit more mounting right here with our line and all that. We gotta put a couple more straps on, and then we're gonna put the other plugs in, and we're gonna do a fire up for you guys, and then that'll probably be about it. So we won't be able to do a test hit just because we already put our sand tires on. So we don't want to run it on the road too much. Hopefully we get in the sand, we'll be able to do a little bit, maybe if it's right. But yeah, for now we're gonna get our spark plugs in, and we gotta do our header gasket, and that'll be it. All right guys, so we got our gasket in. That is probably wrong. Our ports are round. The gasket we have is square, but since we already had it half ripped out, we had to make do, and we're gonna see if it works. Probably won't, but it's just really got to be enough to get us on the trailer. We'll get some round ones and we'll replace it up in Michigan. But right now we're putting our spark plugs in, and I was gonna kind of show you. So this is your standard Chevy 350 plug. It's an R45 TS. So we had a hard time finding spark plugs now with everything going on, but these are our nitrous plugs. So one thing is this is a non-projected. So you see how that tip and all that's inside like that? You can see how it's it's not protruding out. That's what that means when it says non-projected. And when it's non-projected, pretty much you have a smaller strap, which helps it cool more. When you have bigger straps like this with the projected plugs, they tend to get really hot and maybe even glowing, and that's how you sometimes get misfires or like detonations in your motor and all that. So again, we're only running a 50 shot, so I mean, we're really being over precautious with all this stuff, I'd like to think. But the other thing that might be a little funny with this is that with our plug gap for nitrous, you should be 30 to 35, and with stock or normal plugs, you usually do about 45 gap on your Chevy 350 if you have a higher end ignition. The earlier models, 75 and earlier and all that, with your more standard ignitions and all that, those are gapped closer to 35, but I'm sure it's not going to be an issue for us. So we got these gapped at 35. We're gonna put them in, and hopefully it fires up and sounds good. So yeah, we're gonna get at this. We're gonna get all these plugs done, and then we're gonna go from there. All right, guys, we are back in the garage. We just got done with our little nap and all that, and just to show you guys, we got her all buttoned up. She's good to go. Got our new spark plugs in there. Those are running good. Notice a little different idle smudge there at the beginning, but it seems like it's all pretty close to the same. Everything's we got them at 35, and yeah, that's probably about it as far as about it for the CJ, guys. Nitrous is in. She's ready to spray. So anytime we wanted to hit that, we can. Hopefully we get out there, and I will definitely make sure you guys see the action when we finally decide to hit that button. So I appreciate you guys watching all that. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We'll be doing more stuff like this for sure, and hopefully having some fun. All right, guys, we'll see you later.